Can't even scoot back now. I gotta be all close and shit. Anyways, hello, welcome back to another video. As you can see, I don't have as much energy as I normally do. That's because I'm kind of sick. A little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit. Anyways, we're gonna be doing we're gonna be reacting to a Jubilee video. Obviously, not the full thing. We're just gonna take some of the interesting parts, I think, comment about them, and yeah, let's just get into it. Oh, also, the video is titled "Have Aliens Made Contact with Earth? Believers versus Skeptics, Middle Ground." So let's get into it. And the sound is not coming to my headphones. Okay, then.
As I'm looking up, I just see these three lights in like a triangular formation. It just moves without, any sound or anything. Then it stops for 10 seconds or so, and then just raises up into the clouds and then just disappears.
Oh my God. We're going against the wall, dude. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the inside.
What is your opinion about aliens?
They're real.
We have an entire galaxy just of
Step one. I don't know why you asked that question when she's wearing that shirt. I'm just saying she's obviously wearing a shirt that says I believe in aliens or some shit like that, or I heart aliens or some whatever. Of course, like, you don't have to ask the question.
so many different planets and stars.
The odds of us being alone in the universe are almost non-existent.
Do you think humans have made contact with aliens already?
I don't think the evidence shows that.
I've had my own experience.
When you tell this experience to people, do they typically believe you?
Yeah, for the most part.
I have encountered aliens. It's not like in person, like they're hanging out, like they're not dense like we are.
We're talking about minimum of thousands, if not millions or billions of light years away. So the odds that they have visited us is pretty astronomical that they probably didn't and may not visit us for millions of years.
I think it's pretty exciting, unless you're one of those people that's getting visited at 3 a.m. alone in your bedroom and getting walked out to some craft for sexual experimentation.
I guess you don't want me. That one guy said unless, like, it's pretty cool, unless you're waking up, you're one of those people that waking up 3 a.m. in the morning, seeing a flying craft, and then getting tested on with sexual experience, which means anal probe. That's what he means. Which is, why would they bother that? I don't understand, like, why would they bother to anal probe humans? Oh, I get it. It's tagging. That's what they're doing. That's what anal probing is. It's just tagging humans, okay? It's like how we tag endangered species and things like that. Yeah, that's what they do to us.
My name's Greg Carlwood. I host a podcast called Higher Side Chats in the conspiracy paranormal space. I've been doing it for 10 years, so I've heard a lot of interesting stories.
Right here.
I'm Luke Nias. I'm an IT specialist, and I've also had my own experience, which is kind of crazy, but yeah.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I have a blog called Starseed Hotspot.
Of course she would have a blog. Of course she would have a blog. She looks like the person to have a blog. Like,
.com. I'm someone who would identify as a starseed and have had a lot of different spiritual and paranormal experiences.
Hi, my name's Lynette. I'm an actress and I'm spiritually aware of myself, and I believe that, aliens are real.
I'm Dominic Andre. I am actually a mental health therapist and
so we can get one thing. One thing here is that they all do believe in aliens. That's one thing. But I guess, yeah.
influencer, but I've been in love with science since I was a kid, published by NASA, and I'm an amateur astronomer.
Spencer Marks, the author of the sci-fi book Living History, and also a senior investigator with the Center for Inquiry Investigations Group. We investigate claims of the paranormal.
All right. Can I get my folks who feel like they have made personal contact with aliens on the left, and then my people who have not on the right? First prompt is, I've seen a UFO.
Oh.
But the term UFO
Yeah.
is so broad. Like, saying you've seen a UFO, you could say that about anything. It could be literally anything. Because it's an unidentified object. That's what a UFO is. It's an object that we don't know that is... Like, it doesn't even have to be flying. It could just, like, you could claim... Like, if you don't know what it is or what it identifies... Like, no, if you don't know how to identify, anything could be an unidentified object. Like, anything could be a UFO, technically. Like, oh, this rock, I don't know what it's made out of. It's an unidentified object. I just feel like that's my personal feeling about the word UFO and how it's so broad and it can mean too many things to be like, because I guess nowadays it's just like it goes directly towards aliens, but UFO could literally be anything man-made too. Just saying.
Oh, welcome.
Hello.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen one. It was about 10 years ago, just right before I graduated.
Why were those two other people so hesitant to go in to sit down? They were just so hesitant.
High school, and as I'm looking up, I just see these three lights in like a triangular formation. There was no body to it, just the three lights, and they were like flickering, almost like on fire or something like that. I look at my buddy and I say, "You seeing this?" And he sees it, and yeah, it just moves without any sound or anything, just quiet for about a minute, then it stops for 10 seconds or so, and then just raises up into the clouds and then just disappears. Well, this is 10 years ago, so it's like drones weren't really a big thing. I've never seen a plane that could hover, or at least
10 years ago was 2010. We got to do some information gathering here. 10 years was 2010. 10 years was 2000. Okay, then. Drones. We go drones. Oh, okay. Actually, no, better question. When did drones become popular? I'm sorry, wait. I'm sorry, wait. Wait a second. Nah, fam. When was this video made? He literally just lost all his source. Like, all his credibility is just now gone. For me personally. Because in 2010s, the drones for civilians application started to become popular. Parrot AR drones, a smartphone controlled quadcopter that was introduced to the public in 2010, was claimed to be the original commercial drone that captured the imagination of the US public. And there's lights on it. Let's see. What's the drone called? Parrot AR? Search. Just original 2010 version. Let me get that 2010. Does it have lights? LED. It does have lights. Okay then. Like it, some of them do have lights on them. I guess they're modded, some of them, but uh, this makes his story a little suspicious. This makes his story a little suspicious. Let's roll it back a couple seconds.
Raises up into the clouds and then just disappears. Well, this is 10 years ago, so it's like drones weren't really a big thing, you know. I've never seen a plane that could hover, or at least hover and then not make a bunch of noise. So it's a something I can't explain, honestly.
So for me, as someone who is a clairvoyant, I'll see like dimensional like overlapping of things, especially going through what's called a Kundalini awakening, which was really intense, and I had a lot of different types of contact with like aliens through like astral projection as well. Like I've like left my body, seen my body like laying there, and went and visited other dimensions, been on spacecrafts and like seen different spacecrafts. These are things that like I can't explain, and they weren't dreams.
For me, as an amateur astronomer, I do see UFOs, but to clarify that, UFO stands for unidentified flying object. So for me, yes, I do see things that I don't know what they are, but my immediate conclusion isn't aliens or intelligent life. My immediate conclusion is, what can I scientifically understand? You know, we thought thunder was gods, and now we would easily explain it to not being gods. People will get confused. They assimilate, or they, make UFO and aliens, one, and I'm like, that's not the same thing.
This guy thought the same ideas. He has the same thinking process as me, because I was like, well, technically, you like, because yeah, I've already explained myself. I already explained
That's a
myself.
good point.
Let's bring in our disagreeers.
It would be disingenuous to say I've ever seen one firsthand, but because of what I do, I've had plumbers come to the house. You're like, oh, what do you do? I host a conspiracy podcast. Well, let me tell you something. My uncle is a pilot, and he would never tell his superiors this, but he's seen this and this. And even the U.S. Navy has released footage of UFOs and said, yeah, these crafts are real, and we don't know what they are. Just a couple of years ago, it was in the New York Times.
And certainly I've looked up and said, oh, I don't know what that is, but I never once assumed that to be an alien spacecraft. I actually am also a private pilot, so I know how to identify aircraft visually from the lighting pattern. I'm also an amateur astronomer, and I looked up 1,000 times through a telescope, and you can see some people might think that object moved so fast, it was bright, and was that a UFO? Well, I know it's a satellite, so I'm not worried about those things.
There's a lot of people who say, I've seen aliens, I've seen UFOs. It's interesting that the aliens have headlights.
Yeah,
you don't want to crash in the ground.
I think that we don't even need those now. I mean, we can use the technology. So it's interesting that we always use like human-like objects to
There isn't
explain
like a
aliens.
catch-all, you know what I mean? Because it's like you said, oh, they have headlights. Well, maybe they have lights, but maybe it's not so they can see. There could be a different purpose for it, you know what I mean? I'm not one to be a fibber, It's like if I believe in something, I'm not afraid to say it, even if people might think I'm crazy or whatever, because it's just something that's so weird and different that, I mean, why would you make that up?
Aliens live among us today.
Nah. 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 Y'all see what happened in 2020? Nah. Nah. Don't think so. Don't think so.
This galaxy, this universe is so vast and wide. To believe that they aren't here now is kind of dumb, in my opinion.
Some kind of multi-dimensional thing. I mean, someone's flying all those crafts that people see out there.
Right.
I've never seen any that I know of, but I have interviewed.
But why would they live here? Why would they live here if they could fly anywhere in the universe? I mean, that's my like, why come to a planet that's inhabited by beings that aren't the most intelligent, that aren't even the most caring to each other. Like we cause wars just in general over the smallest things. Like for me personally, I think there would be also most likely intergalactic law. If you're able to travel across space like that, there must be some type of law enforcement to then regulate people, to regulate aliens and things like that, in order to not come in contact with planets that don't have this type of technology yet. I just think that's what I think personally. So, yeah.
Viewed a lot of researchers who have heard from people within the government, within the Department of Defense, that have said that they are pretty confident that that's a reality and that the black budget goes to trying to keep some kind of tabs on this activity.
I have read some stuff about people being abducted into government facilities, Area 51, things like that. If we're talking about like the traditional sense of like an alien, they work with our government, they keep this matrix operating, and as someone who identifies as a starseed, I mean, like technically I'm an alien that incarnated here.
I guess I interpret it as living among us. I think of like, the reptilians where, they're in disguise and they're assimilating into our society where you could be an alien and you're just not saying it. You know what I mean?
I really
So,
I don't know if you see him in the line at Starbucks, but I do think for there to be physical experiences, they're sharing the planet with us.
I just find the notion pretty far-fetched. I mean, why the secrecy? If they want to learn from us, if we want to learn about them, why wouldn't they just step forward and say, here we are?
I think we all obviously believe aliens do exist here, or statistically, which is fine. But to say that they traveled here is another thing, because like with the Roswell crash, very, very unlikely to see someone be able to do that 10,000 years, cross the entire universe, and then crash immediately when we get here.
Well, plus you look at the debris. I mean, they have pictures of the debris. It's like literally balsa wood and mylar.
Pictures they show you.
Well, but the point is, there's not enough physical. If you're in a spaceship, it's not going to be 3 pounds of debris.
I've read a lot of books about the chain of custody of that material. There's thousands of people who've had experiences. There's dozens and dozens of crash stories that are beyond Roswell.
Do you think that the person writing the book has an incentive financially to write a book?
Yes, but is a doctor less good because he makes money being a doctor? Aliens is kind of a loaded term. I mean, I think of non-human intelligences, which could be things people...
But the thing is, an author can't be arrested for not doing his job. A doctor can be arrested for not doing his job. Those are the two big things that you need to realize. An author can write whatever the fuck he wants to, and he can call it fact. He can say it's fact, but it doesn't matter to the people who read it, or to the people that even don't read it. Like, it doesn't matter. He can say it's fact because if he believes it, and if he's making money off of it, he'll just keep writing. Like, that's all it is. But a doctor is what's the word? Not even fine. Like, cause like as a doctor, yeah, you make money, but like there's a code. There's a code that you have to follow through, no matter what, as a doctor. So it doesn't matter if because if there's a code that you have to follow through as a doctor, or you will lose your doctoring license in order to treat patients and things like that, then you can't compare those two. Like, I don't think you can compare those two. It's not comparable.
Full experience on psychedelics. I woke up one day a complete material atheist. Some friends convinced me to try Salvia divinorum, and then it was kind of like an instantaneous out-of-body experience. And then that felt entirely natural. It felt more normal in waking life. And then there was a male and female entity of some kind, and they spoke to me. They're like, "Wow, we're surprised you're here." I'm like, "I'm surprised I'm here." And one was more cynical about the fact that I wouldn't be there long, and the other one was just more excited about being there at all. And the one was like, "Well, why are you even talking to this guy? He's gonna be gone. He's gonna be gone in just a few minutes." And I was like, "But he's here now." And I'm convinced there's intelligences out there that are non-human that we can interact with, but that kind of changed my life, actually.
I think
Okay, then. I think a psychiatrist could do better. It's a psychedelic drug that activates your mind. Whatever you're thinking of last, or whatever you're not thinking of, your subconscious is always going. So what that psychedelic does is activate. Like, basically it activated his subconscious more to the point. So where his conscious mind would delve deeper into his subconscious mind, which is really hard to do. Like, because subconsciously, you're always doing something subconsciously. Like, you're always breathing subconsciously, you're always blinking subconsciously. Those are two things that you always do without, like, your body will always do it no matter what. So, like, I just, like, yeah, you were on a psychedelic, but like, how come you had to get on that psychedelic drug in order to meet that? In order to get to that point? Like, I just don't feel like...
people on the other side are misinformed.
About what?
I think the data for UFOs and non-human intelligence is pretty strong. I think you have to really dive into it because it's not being presented on the news. But when you look at it, there's no shortage of really credible sources that have seen some pretty incredible things. Paul Hellyer is the ex-defense minister of Canada, and he says, hey, there's these crafts flying over and they're shooting our nuclear facilities with some kind of beam and disabling them. I mean, that's a fairly credible source.
Right. Well, look, anecdotal evidence is some evidence, but it's not strong evidence. As far as physical evidence, that's where we fall short.
I would disagree with that. Have you ever tried a psychedelic compound?
I have not.
I mean, hey, we can figure this out pretty quick. Then you do it, and then you tell me it wasn't real.
Well, so you're saying that something you take is going to create an external difference? We can't look at that as evidence any more than we can. I dreamt
It widens perceptions of
but
consciousness.
that's from your brain.
But that's like a hallucination. That's not really expanding consciousness. Like you're talking about like hallucinating.
Well, what's the difference?
So I think science is also based on perception. So you're talking about the brain and the brain being powerful, but so is our heart center, which science can prove has its own energy field around it, and it's much stronger than our brain. So the point that I want to make is like science is based on perception. It's a bunch of people perceiving studies a certain way, right? But so is spirituality.
The difference between science is not that 5 different scientists perceive something differently or in the same way. They look at evidence, and if that evidence guides them and points them toward a particular direction and it's repeatable and it's falsifiable, we tend to say, well, that's what reality tends to be or seems to be.
But that's reality based on your perception.
No, it's not a perception.
It is.
A reality based on my perception. Oh, there is like, if there was a reality based on my perception, there wouldn't be gravity. There wouldn't be such thing as gravity. You don't need gravity. Fuck gravity. I wouldn't be able to fly. I wouldn't be able to jump over buildings. That's what I want to do. Like, saying that science is just a perception is not. Because basically what you do is you take facts, and you take these facts, and these facts keep happening, and then you have an event, right? And these... Okay, wait. Let's see. Let's take... I don't know. A fucking... a fucking bag of tissues, right? You drop it. It's going to hit my table. No matter what, whenever I drop it over this table, it will land on this table. That is not me perceiving like anything else. This is what's going to happen no matter what. So some things are inevitable, and you can't, like, because science is like basically taking all the facts that I just said, it's hitting the table. What is making it? Then basically asking, oh, what is making it do that? Well, it's this thing called gravity, which is a gravitational force of the Earth, because the Earth is such a large mass, which makes a dip into the fucking space, whatever. So massive objects in space have all their own gravitational pull. like the sun, which is why we're in a consistent rotation. So to say that science is to be perceived differently by different people, no, that's art. That's what art's for. That's what music's for, and comedy and other things. But to say science is a perception of different people is a false mentality.
Everything is perception.
Science is good at things.
We're probably misinformed about a lot of stuff, but for the other side to say you guys are misinformed, I think is just as ridiculous because I think
That's like what I meant, honestly, is like we all have our own truths and that's relative to you and it's valid.
Yeah.
Except for the fact of gravity. I'm sorry, I yelled into the mic. Gravity cannot be perceived, so science, like theories, things like theories can be perceived, like the what Schrodinger's cat or whatever other theories that are out there. Those can be perceived, but like even like there's an event horizon inside of a black hole. No one's been inside a black hole, so you don't really know. No one knows. We know what will happen if you do go towards a black hole, but like to say that science can be perceived in different ways is not like that's misinformation, because we all should perceive. We should all think like, oh, so if I do this, this is going to happen. Like cause and effect is a thing, and it's going to consistently happen. Like if I do something, this is going to happen. If I do this, this is going to happen. So to say that science is you're able to perceive science because of this. I am way over 27 minutes. I don't know why. But to say that you're going to perceive science in a certain way is in a different way than someone else is not possible. Because you're going to have this. Because, like, oh, if he does this, but then I do it, we're going to have two different outcomes. Well, if you have two different outcomes, that's not. Then, like, either one person did something wrong or you're not doing the same thing. Or you're not emitting the same amount of whatever.
And I think that can be true for people, and I think it's hard because I could show you an expert, it's meaningless to you, but you could show me your expert, and this is the right one. And so it's interesting because I work with a lot of Muslims. They're saying, I've spoken to my God. And a Christian says, Muslim God is wrong, but I've spoken to my God. And a Hindu says, I've actually recognized and remembered my past life, and I can name it down to a T. And so if we get to that point, I think everyone would then just be right, and we know there would be no actual unifying reality. But the scientific community is saying we want to create a unified reality between each other so we can progress in our own way. And that's why science, we would never say there aren't aliens or are aliens. You're saying aliens, if there was a crash, we would say there could be, but we don't know, and right now it's leaning this way. So misinformation is different. It's more just about kind of like hard-headedness on that.
I think it's more close-mindedness to say, yours whole kind of organization is not to be malicious in debunking things, but that is your goal, is to disprove something.
No, that's not at all. It's,
Actually, I think their goal is to try and see something, and hopefully they prove. They'd rather find aliens. Honestly, I think most people would. I think the science community would rather find aliens than not. Because, like, if you think about it logically, what would the science community have to gain over the fact of disproving other people? Nothing. They wouldn't have anything to do. Like, it wouldn't matter. It doesn't matter to them. They just want to know all the information and if it's possible that this thing is real. That's it. That's all they want to do. And if it's real, they want to meet it. Because they rather have aliens and like learn alien technology that way and how this alien technology works. Like that's really how you would really honestly want to learn how alien technology works. But if you're saying that, oh, all scientists are just out here to debunk and try and turn down that the fact that aliens are real is like is dumb because it's like, well, they want they want it more than you do because they have more to gain from the fact that aliens are real.
Absolutely not true.
Well,
Our organization looks at evidence for things, and we ask others. They have a claim of paranormal activity. Great, show it to us. Show us the evidence. We don't do anything to debunk them. We
I feel
simply
like that's really limiting, though.
no.
That's
but,
the thing.
But the point is,
with
that's not limiting.
misinformation, I
It's-
just feel like it's just
No,
limiting instead of
well,
misinformation.
the purpose is
To find the truth.
to find the truth,
What do you say to the U.S. Navy, who has come out and said there are unidentified flying crafts that defy physics? We don't know what they are. Is that a credible source?
know our
Yeah, but
physics.
the point
We're
is
learning
that-
our physics.
Well, I agree with that. I think that's why there's a lot of
if-
suppression in this area, because
but-
it unlocks hidden
But if the U.S. Navy is
technologies.
saying we don't know what it is, that's the point.
there's so many tapes that you see from like the Air Force where you see these flying objects.
I don't
and
It's the
it's-
same thing as saying, 5,000 years ago, that's thunder. You guys saw that thunder. It's God. We're just saying we don't know, and to jump to
But
conclusions.
jumping
we're also
to
just-
conclusion is kind of far fetched.
We've kind of exploded, but this is good.
You
That's the
asked
good
for
stuff.
this.
Is this the content you want?
I am completely on the side of science and evidence. I investigate claims of the paranormal with a group called the Center for Inquiry Investigations Group, and we have not found any evidence whatsoever of any sort of paranormal activity or aliens or any of that sort of thing. And we've looked.
And you've been on the show before, right?
I have been on the show before, yes, in the Flat Earth episode.
Nice. What was that experience like?
It was a great experience. My only comment was that we presented a lot of science and all of that was edited out. We sort of ended up with interesting sound bites, but not so much of the science.
Well, I'm sorry. The Area 51.
I can see how you'd be annoyed at that. You're like, we kept spewing science, and then all you wanted was the clips. All you wanted was to make an interesting YouTube video. You only wanted the cool content, and we gave you science. I can see how you could be slightly annoyed because you're trying to inform people, but then again, it's a YouTube video, so they're still trying to make like I don't shame Jubilee for cutting out those probably long ass explanatory science parts that you could probably look up on other YouTube channels, but I could see how he's kind of annoyed.
Raid was a bad idea.
If you try to storm military facilities, you're going to have a bad time.
Exactly.
If they can wipe people's memories that have been working there for 20 years, like that, then what could they do to people that are trying to storm a government facility?
Mow 'em down. I mean, that's literally it. I mean, I know it. I think it started as just like kind of a joke Facebook or something like that. Which is like, okay, that's kind of funny, but the fact that there is kind of a somewhat of a consensus where, at least with skeptics, that people who do believe in aliens are somewhat crazy or weird, you know what I mean? Like something's a little off with them. So it was bad not only just for people in general, but also believers in UFOs and aliens in general.
I definitely don't believe it was necessarily a bad idea. I feel like it put pressure on the government to be like, hey, there are a lot of people who are curious about what you're doing. And if you have a whole facility of just like secrets, you can't help but explore that curiosity and see for yourself.
And I definitely agree with that, but it wasn't like we had a group of, scientists and well-to-do people that would be, I guess, more respected. It was just a bunch of kids making jokes about clapping alien cheeks. You know what I mean? It's just like there was no seriousness behind it.
It's
It
like
was,
the way it was constructed.
yeah.
I feel like religion or science could be kind of limited and boxed. I have a Catholic background, so in my family, aliens aren't real. It's just human beings. So growing up in that kind of environment, I should have a different opinion from what I have now.
I believe humans were created by a higher power.
You said humans, right? Okay. Just clarifying. I grew up as a Catholic, and to now, I've transitioned to being a Christian and all of that. So I do believe in God. I do believe that He created us, and I also believe He created everything else: the planet, nature, the galaxy, and beyond.
If the question was, were we made by aliens, I might not have stepped forward, but higher power is a wider umbrella. We're clearly very different from every other thing on this planet,
Right.
and I think there was.
But could a higher power include aliens? I mean, just technically speaking. Because if they're more powerful than us, they are technically a higher power. I'm just saying, like, technically speaking. And also, the pyramids, that's a weird thing. There's still controversy over the. I don't know. I'm just giving my commentary on this. And higher power, it could be anything. Honestly, for me personally, it could be anything. It could be a god. It could be, I don't know, fucking Michael Jordan. No, Michael Jordan isn't dead. Who's a great idol but dead? Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman created humans. That is my reality. Oh, that's my reality now. Harriet Tubman is the creator of all life on Earth. Harriet Tubman did it.
Some intervention at some point that might have facilitated that. Terrence McKenna thought it was mushrooms, that we did psychedelic mushrooms, and that facilitated an evolution of consciousness. And mushroom spores can survive in space too, so maybe they are the aliens that helped us get to where we are right now.
Mushrooms are a fungus. I just had to say that.
So we are for sure an evolutionary accident. I mean, we don't know why we developed these big brains, but we did. I mean, we've only been around kind of a couple 100,000 years.
Yeah, actually, kind of piggyback off of that, where as us as animals, because that's basically what we are. We're just really smart animals. It's just we took a path of how we evolved to where we are today. And like you said, with the mushrooms possibly being part, that would be part of the evolution of what we are.
It does change brain chemistry, psilocybin mushrooms.
It does, but that would be more toward a Lamarckian evolution as opposed to a Darwinian evolution, because Lamarck thought that if you just did pressure, if you did forces, then that would change different generations. And we're pretty sure that doesn't happen. I mean, many generations of Jews have been circumcising their babies, and yet every baby has been born with a foreskin after that. So it's sort of not something you can force, apparently.
But when we talked about higher power, I don't know you well enough, we just met, but I guarantee he wouldn't be past saying, yes, aliens could have made us.
Okay.
There could be civilizations that are tens of thousands of years ahead of us. They could have came in here and altered things. That is 100% a possibility. But possibility and probability are two different things, and I think that's really important, because I can sit here all day and tell you, yes, we could all be in a simulation. That is and statistically possible, but statistically possible is not how we all operate our lives. We use statistics in everyday life, and I think that's really important to not let it go when it comes to everything else, when it comes to spiritual issues or evolution, and to say, although I operate my entire life off statistics, I'm not going to do it here.
I think there is some science that indicates life on other planets, or going back to ancient civilizations, there is proof that they believed in aliens. But for me personally, I would say it's very spiritual based.
My views on this topic are an important part of my identity.
If your whole identity is based around aliens, I think you should get a life. That's just my personal opinion.
It wouldn't make sense for me to not step forward, considering the fact that I identify as a starseed. So it's just something that you awaken to your own divinity, and it's very personal to you. Mm-hmm. And I think we're all on different paths, and everyone's valid in their own way. But
absolutely. And when you have an experience with it, it's verified, it's validated. But until you do, it's not there.
Well, I understand him because they both made it their jobs too. So I guess it's okay. But is that all you talk about? Like, do you talk about anything other than that? Like, do you have a circle of friends that are not in with the whole alien sphere thing? Like, it's just it just makes it seem like you don't have a life. That's all.
It fascinates me. I've watched many documentaries, many specials, and things like that regarding this topic, but it's not like I live and breathe it.
I'm not going to dwell on it till it happens. I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'd love to be the first guy to, see the craft land, go up, introduce myself, get some alien technology, take my photos with my iPhone up close, selfies. I mean, I would love to do that.
When you're ready.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Ayahuasca is a facilitator of contact made from 2 plants in the Amazon.
I've had a friend do it, and he basically said that from that he found Hinduism, and he knows to be sure that reincarnation is real, aliens aren't, it's all on Earth. So that's why it's interesting, because it's like, would you disagree with his statement that there are no other aliens? It's just Hinduism, and why would his trip be different than yours and non?
Well, I just consider the umbrella of aliens to be more like non-human intelligences, whether it's multidimensional, something people call spirits or angels or aliens. It doesn't seem like his experience necessarily would devalue that. He might have a different box or label.
I normally tell everyone I don't have beliefs, it's all based off statistics. I'm not here to say 100% there are aliens, just statistically there are. So I'm here to always just make the boundary between people who say 100% there are aliens and the people who say 100% there aren't aliens. And I don't think either of those are correct, but we have to look at it as a number situation, and I think that's very important because we can't be using our emotion or our religion to determine whether there are aliens or not.
To me, it unlocked an entire dimension of reality that I was denying beforehand, a spiritual dimension of consciousness. Once you take these compounds, you can experience things beyond yourself that science is going to have a tough.
Every time he talks, Jubilee puts this little message up. Every single time he talks. Because he just kind of seems like a little bit of a drug addict, honestly.
Tough time with, because science is in this box of the material world.
There's so many things in this world that we don't have any information on. So almost kind of narcissistic in effect to say we're the only intelligent beings that live in this entire known universe. I think believe what you want, but aliens are real.
I definitely agree with what you were saying. There's just too many things in this world to just have one single, this is it, this is the truth idea.
Before my spiritual awakening, I was just like you guys, 100%, and I was actually very atheist. Someone like me who went through a spiritual awakening, I'm here, I could speak this other language, like I can do these things that like don't make any sense, and having the kind of experiences that I've had, it's something that science can't explain to me, and so I
came in front of them and they see the ants that actually evolve into humans in front of them, and so I think it's hard to do that because I think if we go down that realm or that realm, then we can't discredit them either. Not to say we can't, but just it would put us down that realm where we.
It's great meeting all of you.
You too.
Wonderful.
See?
Yeah,
Alien. Oh.
So, basically, we got to the end of the video, guys. Look at that. We got to the end of the video. It's 43 minutes. I made this video 43 minutes long. 43 minutes long. Anyways. Basically, we got to the end of the video and nothing changed. No one had changing of ideas or ideals. And that's basically what this... I wasted 28 minutes. 28 minutes watching this video to come to an end of a conclusion where there was no actual change in anyone's ideals or at all. Like, it's called middle ground, but usually, when you talk to other people on the other side, your ideals change just a little bit. Maybe you get small new ideas here and there, but for the most part, no one changed, no one was different. And, that's just disappointing. Because, I was expecting, just someone to change. And also, believe whatever you want to believe. I believe that the problem, I'm like that one guy in that green shirt. The probability of aliens is very high. but the probability of them visiting us is very low. And that's just it. Those are just my facts. Anyways, I hope you had fun watching this video. Comment down below what do you think? Comment down below, what do you think? And if you did like this video, also comment down below if you want any more of these type of the commentary videos about, I don't know, Jubilee commentary videos. I consider this more of a commentary video. Like, I'll edit it. I'll edit this a little better. I'll watch it back, do a couple watch backs. And I've been streaming this whole time. I don't know why I was streaming. But I was streaming for some reason too. Anyways, hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.
How to leave my ex in the past, don't waste my time. I know, I'm not your type. I know, I had to send her back home. Boom, 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 I'm taking shots to your dome. Fuck nigga, I'm taking shots at your home. Dumb nigga, really acting tough, acting bold. I know, I know, I know, I know. Zoom, 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 I had to speak to the cast. Bombing jeans just to cover my ass. I like a bitch, I don't know that she bad. I gotta know if you will ride for me, I would die for you. Fuck it, homicide for you. She only want me for the cash now. And she called me a pig, I'm the cash cow. Told her I love her, this and that. Knife in her hand and it went on my back. I'm cold-hearted, blame her ass. I guess I gotta shoot her right back. Had to leave my ex in the past, don't waste my time. I know, I'm not your type. I know, I had to send her back home. Boom, 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 I'm taking shots to your dome. Fuck nigga, I'm taking shots at your home. Dumb nigga, really acting tough, acting bold. I know, I know, I know, I know. And she really broke my heart and she fucking left me. Gave her my heart, I guess God trying to test me. See, for the streets, you don't really impress me. The day that you're broke is the day that you text me. Fuck you, bitch, I had to skirt off. And I only really like it when her skirt off. My neck, my wrist is water. And I'll fuck on your bitch and your daughter. Niggas stay saying that I changed now. Heartbreaks really make a man change. How? VVS diamonds on my chain now. Only thing I really love is my bank account. How to leave my ex in the past, don't waste my time. I know, I'm not your type. I know, I had to send her back home. Boom, 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 I'm taking shots to your dome. Fuck nigga, I'm taking shots at your home. Dumb nigga, really acting tough, acting bold. I know, I know.